Hello, champions. This is Mrs. Rogers, and I'm going to walk you through the steps for setting up a Google Doc into MLA format. You will be filling in your notes that you have a Google Doc of the Cornell Notes. If you need to stop the video or go back at any time, you can do that. The first step in setting up your MLA formatting doc, and what you should always do, is rename your document. So we're going to say MLA, not MLS, MLA example. Now I'm going to come down into my document, and I always want to start with my margins. So margins, the requirement is 1 inch. Margins are the blank white space on the edges of your paper. To change your margins or to check them, you want to go up to the File tab and choose File, scroll down to Page Setup, and look at your margins. So the default setting is always at 1 inch, but you should always double check to make sure that it is set at 1 inch. So I'm going to say okay. Next, we want to talk about our line spacing. So MLA formatting requires double spacing for your whole document. So to do that, we would go to Format and come down to Line Spacing and choose Double. Next, we always want to use Times New Roman. Some teachers will let you use Arial or Calibri, but for this purpose, we're going to use Times New Roman. So I'm going to come up and come into my fonts and scroll down to Times New Roman. Here it is. And then for the size or the point, we want to choose 12-point font. All right, here comes the first tricky part. We are going to create our header. A header will have your last name and a page number up in the top right-hand corner, so it's aligned to the right side. So to do that, we would go to Insert, and then down to this header page number and choose Header. And you want to type in your last name and then a space. And then you can move it over to the right alignment right here if you want. To add our page number, we're going to go back to the Insert tab and go down to Header Page Number and choose Page Number this time. And you want to choose this one in the top left-hand corner. And what that will do is it will start numbering the first page and then keep going from there. And it will automatically change the numbers of your page. So I'm going to choose that. And it put in my first page right here. The last step you want to do is this right now. If I look at my font, it's set at Arial 11 point, and it's going to look kind of weird if just my header is this font and point and the rest of my paper is set at Times New Roman. So you want to change your header font to match the rest of your paper. So we're going to do Times New Roman in 12. All right, we're going to come down here now, and I'm going to create my heading. The heading should include your name, your first and last name, your instructor's name or your teacher's name, and then the name of your class and the date. And the date is not formatted how you would normally write a date. So to format the date in MLA formatting, you put in the day, then spell out the name of the month, and then the year. Let me remind you, sixth graders, that months are capitalized, as are all names. So if we do our heading here, we would want to type in, and then I have our name, first and last name, and then I'm going to put in enter, and you can tell that this is double spaced. And then I would put in the teacher's name, and then I would type out the full name of the class. So don't just abbreviate it to tech or lit or whatever class you're in. You want to name it technology and spell that all the way out. Make sure the name of your class is capitalized. And then for our date, we start out with the day, and then we type in the name of the month spelled out, and then the year. Right. Then I'm going to say enter. And I'm ready to put in my title. One quick note to make sure that you are only using the double spacing, you don't have any extra spaces. A good little trick is to hover your cursor between your lines. If it's double spaced, you should only be able to have one of these little eye-shaped cursors between your lines. Okay, on to our title. Our title should be capitalized, and then it needs to be centered. So I'm going to come up here on my toolbar and center align my title, and then I'm going to push enter again, and I'm ready to start typing my paragraphs. So the body of the essay would be all of your paragraphs, and those should all be aligned to the left. So I need to change my alignment back to the left side, and I'm ready to start typing my paragraphs. One thing to notice, I didn't push enter more than one time after the date. So I don't have a big space between the date and the title. So for your paragraphs, all of your paragraphs should be indented. You will never, ever, ever use the space bar to indent. You only want to use the tab key to indent. So if you've ever done space, 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 space to indent your paragraphs, don't do that anymore. It really screws up your papers. So I will start typing my paragraph. All right. So you can see as I type my paragraphs, I'll have that first line indented. I'm gonna kind of just pretend I'm typing lines here. Okay, let's say this is the end of my paragraph. I don't put an extra space between the first paragraph and the second. So all I'm gonna do when I get to the end of the sentence is push enter once and then push my tab key, and I'm ready to do my next paragraph. So this is how you would do your MLA formatting. You should be all done with your notes now. If you missed anything, go back and check on those, and I will give you one more video to show you how to set up a paper that's already been typed.